You are listening to Weight Loss for Women Over 40, the podcast where we get radically real about how to lose weight by listening in and not restricting from the outside. So, I'm your host, Nikki T, and today we're going to be talking about a skill you were born with, but probably haven't used in years. We're going to be talking about your body speaking to you and how to finally listen. So let's talk about listening, not your to-do list, not your calorie counter, anything like that. Let's talk about listening to your body because believe it or not, your body is speaking to you loud and clear. So let me ask you something. Can you tell the difference between physical hunger and an emotional craving? Like in the moment, like sitting here when you're not really hungry or you're not thinking about food, you probably can be very discerning and be like, yes, of course I do. But when you're in the moment of either physical hunger or that emotional craving, can you distinguish between the two? And if you can't, it doesn't mean that you're broken or anything like that. You're not weak. You're definitely not alone in this. I know I was like that years ago before I found mindset work. I really thought my cravings were compelling me to eat. Like I had no control whatsoever. Just as a side note, if you want help with that, go to Weight Loss for Women Over 40.net/crush and grab my Crush Your Cravings program. It will help you pretty much instantaneously as soon as you go through those videos. So most women that I work with, they can rattle off a meal plan, they can count their macros like to the, the point, right? But when you're in that moment, I want you to ask yourself, like when you're either thinking about food, when you're going to grab food, are you actually hungry? Are you actually physically hungry? Now, that question can feel, again, really impossible to answer because, again, we've lost touch with our body signals. We were so conditioned out of listening to our body signals at a very young age because we were taught you need to eat 3 meals a day and a snack, or you needed to clean your plate, things like that. So it's not because you don't have the answer, it's because you've been trained not to ask this anymore. You just assume that what's on your plate is what's you're supposed to be eating, or which I get so annoyed at is a serving size, a portion size, a small plate. I got news for you. That portion size, that small plate does not dictate what is going on in your body. It's just a plate of food. Your body will tell you when it's full. So we've been taught to override our body signals. We ignore hunger. You eat when you're bored. There's the other thought, oh, when you're dieting, you ignore hunger. So meaning they teach you in dieter's mentality of like, just ignore your hunger. It's, something that will bypass. Now, yes, there is a wave that happens with your hunger signals. So when you initially feel physically hungry, you will get an uptick and then it'll subside. And then it'll uptick a little bit higher and then it'll subside. And then it'll keep upticking higher and higher until it's like, feed me, right? And at that point, you've lost all control and you're just going to eat everything. The other dieter's mentality is drink water first. You might be thirsty. Now, this could be true. However, don't use it as a crutch. You drink water because you need to drink water, not as a substitute to hold off your hunger. Sometimes your body does kind of have that hunger signal and you do need water. What happens though, if you do that, the hunger signal will not keep doing what I just said it will do. The other one is like you have to eat at a certain time. Wait till noon, wait till lunchtime. You're again dictating your body's feeding schedule on a time clock. Now, granted, if you work and you have certain times that you have to eat, like you're allotted to, I get it. I teach my clients how to do this in the framework that I teach. But again, we're allowing outside external things to dictate how our body functions. We've spent decades outsourcing our body's wisdom. And today, I want to encourage you to take it back. So, complete honesty, I'm pretty upfront on this podcasts and all my reels and everything. I'm an open book. There was a time when I felt like I needed to follow every single thing, to eat at a certain time, to have the macros. Again, if you're not familiar with my story, um, I was a professional ballet dancer for many years. I stopped dancing when I was 30, and that's a whole nother thing, on how to eat or not eat really. And then I went into fitness and I started training for fitness competitions, and that's a whole nother avenue. And it's very structured, it's very rigid. It's ironic that I picked the same thing, just in a different flavor, right? Because I was conditioned that way. I was conditioned to believe that, there needed to be lots of structure, lots of rigidity. Is that a word? Rigidity. I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? Rigidity. Um, and it doesn't, it's fine for a temporary thing. And I don't even want to use the word fine, but you can do it in 12 weeks or whatever your thing is, but it's not sustainable. It's not lasting. And then there's this whole dialogue that goes on for eating in the dieter's mentality of like, well, have I earned it? Have I earned my dessert, my cheat meal? Have I earned whatever? Have I done enough calorie burning to offset the banana split that I want to eat? Did I work out hard enough? Is this the right thing to eat? I know I didn't trust my body to tell me anything helpful. I was absolutely relying on outside sources. I followed plans. I followed the zone diet. I attempted South Beach. We're talking old school, right? I attempted South Beach. That was horrible. The food tastes gross. Um, all the things, right? I did macros. I did the IIFYM. These things, again, all external. I logged food. Like, I have a podcast that says I was a food log junkie. I truly was. I couldn't go anywhere without food logging my food, and it was driving me crazy. I ignored my body cues. I would go and, white knuckle it until like I gotta hold on and not eat until X amount of time or whatever it is. And I know you can relate to this. It may not be the exact same story, but I know you can relate to this, especially if you've been in dieter's mentality for a long time. But here's the plot twist. Our bodies are always speaking to us. Again, we've taught it to mute. Think about it. When you're tired, you yawn. When you're cold, you shiver. When you're nervous, your stomach goes all crazy. Your body is constantly sending you messages. But when it comes to hunger, fullness, cravings, we kind of freak the F out. We panic. We second guess and we reach for these diet mentality things and not real bodily signals. It's not a personal flaw, it's just the conditioning that we grew up in. So if you've ever said, I don't know what hunger feels like anymore, or I eat when I'm not hungry and I don't eat when I am, you're not broken. You're just not connected to your body, right? And we can reconnect you. We can introduce yourself to your body. So let's break this down a little bit. So there are three powerful cues your body sends you that you can start tuning into right now. Number one is physical hunger. This isn't just I could eat, because that's a thought. It's a body-based signal. It might be a gentle gnawing in your stomach, slight emptiness, low energy, irritability. A lot of times I tell my clients to feel for the stomach growling. Now, there are some people that don't feel that. That is for another topic, and I really feel it has something to do with the amount of sugar that is in all our foods. And that goes into a little bit of the macros, but again, I don't focus on that yet with my clients. I want them to get into noticing their physical hunger. When are they hungry? And it does build over time, and food actually satisfies it. So if you say you're hungry and you eat something and you're like, that didn't do it, guarantee you that's an emotional craving. So, real hunger comes with a sense of calm when you eat, also, not guilt. So, if you're hungry and you start eating chocolate and you feel guilty, chances are it wasn't real hunger. Real hunger, typically, you will eat whatever. You will eat a dried chicken breast, whatever it is. Because, and I think as Americans especially, we don't know what true hunger is. Now, yes, there are certainly populations in the US that do know true hunger, but if you're listening to this on a podcast, if you have a computer or an iPhone, chances are you're eating food. Your food is accessible to you. Second is the emotional craving. Now, this one absolutely can be trickier because it does mimic hunger, and our brain likes instant gratification, right? That primitive brain, it thinks it's a really good idea to go get those chocolate chip cookies. Typically, it feels like a sudden urge for a specific food. It's usually linked to a thought like, I deserve this. I've had a rough day. He pissed me off, whatever it is. And usually it comes on very fast and feels very urgent. Again, I talk about this in my Crusher Cravings, how I really felt this urgency. Like I remember being in another room in the house and the kitchen was a good distance away, and I swear the food was calling to me like it was Alice in Wonderland, like eat me, come get me. And it was an obsessive thought loop in my head and it would not go away. And it felt very urgent, like I had to take care of it immediately. And I couldn't focus on anything. So here's the kicker. It doesn't usually go away with food, right? That emotional craving doesn't usually go away with food because it's not about the food. And a lot of times when you give in to that emotional craving, you black out. I know I for sure did. I would black out all the time and be like, oh my gosh, I ate 6 cream-filled powdered donuts. How'd that happen? I think I remember eating the first couple bites, but now I'm down six, right? Within a matter of like 15 minutes. So you are not recognizing it because it's not about the food. It's not about the hunger, physical signals in your body. You're trying to feed something else. You're trying to feed stress, loneliness, boredom. I can't talk today. And maybe even celebrating. I noticed that was a big one for me. When I was happy and I wanted to celebrate, bring on the food, bring on the emotional eating. So awareness is power here. Cravings aren't necessarily bad, but knowing that the difference between an emotional craving and physical hunger, it gives you a choice. And I will say there are some quote unquote cravings that do indicate a mineral or vitamin deficiency in that respect. But again, it's different. So it's a different need than an emotional craving as opposed to a physical. So the next one is fullness and satisfaction. So because of how many times you've eaten in the past fullness, just because it tasted good, just because you didn't want to waste the food, just because you weren't paying attention, it's okay, right? Fullness is a physical feeling. And you might notice when you're eating, this is what I want you to start paying attention to, your breathing starts to slow. You feel a gentle stretch in your stomach. The food doesn't taste quite as exquisite and exciting as it did on the first and second bite. Just notice everyone's going to be a little bit different. We've talked about this and with my clients in my group program, there's like a whisper or a nudge that you will hear or get that you're like, okay, I'm full, right? But we tend to ignore it because it's usually very quiet. And food, depending on what you're eating, can be overpowering that noise. So satisfaction, on the other hand, is very emotional, right? So fullness is physical. The fullness of the food being in your body is a physical feeling. Satisfaction, satiety, is an emotional need. You could be full, but still feel unsatisfied. That's why eating a plain salad when your body wants something warm and comforting can leave you feeling deprived, even if your stomach is full. This is why I have a no foods off limits policy. And I go in detail and explain it inside of my Master Your Mind, Change Your Body group program. When you are eating things that you think you quote unquote should because it's what the diet mentality plan or whatever is telling you, you will not feel satisfied. Start with no foods off limits. I start all my clients off that way. Start with no foods off limits. Then at some point, you will notice that you don't want to eat Twinkies and Ho-Hos as much. Doesn't mean you can't. You will gravitate towards, again, it's a whole mindset thing. So how do we actually start listening? Before you eat, I want you to ask, or when you have the thought of, I want to go eat something, ask yourself, what's going on in your body? What's going on emotionally for you right now? And this is the most important thing. What do you really need in that moment? Do you need food? Do you need a hug? Do you need to go outside and get a breath of fresh air? It's not a test. There's no wrong answer. It's a check-in. And I also want to offer too, don't beat yourself up. So meaning if you're not physically hungry and you're like, screw it, I'm going to go eat, you want to get help, first of all. You want to understand why you're doing that, but the constant beratement. So a lot of times what happens is when you do that emotionally eat, when you choose to emotionally eat, it's the aftermath that is the hot mess. It's not so much that, like I said earlier, like the 6 donuts that I ate because I was emotionally upset. It's the aftermath of I shouldn't have done that. This is wrong. Why the hell did I do it? What's wrong with me? I can't lose weight. Like all that spiral spin, that's what causes the chaos at the end. I do have a free video that you can go check out. It's at weightlossforwomenover40.net/snack. I believe it's snack. It might be snacks with an S. I'll put it in the show notes to be sure, but it's either SNACK or with an S at the end. Anyway, it's a short little video. It's a 90-second video that if you find yourself in that emotional state of overeating, like you emotionally overate, go listen to that short video to help calm yourself back down and stay out of the spiral, stay out of that. I shouldn't have done that. I'm a horrible person, all that. Go check that out. It's absolutely free. It is actually part of my Crusher Cravings complete bundle. There are other videos like that inside when you go into, believe you can only get that in the Master Your Mind, Change Your Body program, or if you work, no, just in there. So anyway, go check it out. It's going to be super helpful to you, especially if you catch yourself, you know, right as that aftermath, like you've eaten the food and you're like, oh crap. Go, okay, Nikki said, go to weightlossforwomenover40.net/snacks and go watch that video. Okay. And then let me know how you do with it as well. So here's the truth. Your body never stops speaking to you. And big one, your body does not hate you. It actually is really doing its best to keep you alive and safe and wants the best for you. So you just stopped listening. And again, it's not your fault per se. It's because you weren't taught to trust it. As a baby, when you came in, you trusted your body's instincts. And again, we were conditioned out of it. So again, we're not blaming mom and dad or parents, guardians, whoever, but now we're adults. Now we get to make our own decisions. So decide to start listening to your body. Make that change right now. This is your permission slip to reconnect to yourself, to eat when you're hungry, to pause when you are not hungry, to get curious, not controlling about the whole weight loss process. And most of all, remember, your body wants to work with you. It wants to be your teammate. Let this be the start, this moment right now, let this be the start of listening again. If this episode sparks something in you, please share it, leave a review, send it to a friend. It helps more women hear what we were never taught, that we already have the wisdom inside of us. We just need to come home to it. So if you are ready for more like this, you can currently work with me in 2 ways. I offer my Master Your Mind to Change Your Body group program, which you can be inside that in less than a few minutes by going to weightlossforwomenover40.net/group, or you can work with me privately in my private coaching program where I personally will coach you and get you to the body that you want. So you can apply to private coaching by going to weightlossforwomenover40.net/call, CALL. And if you are not ready to work together, no worries. Go grab yourself that free Snack Kittens video and keep this on your, like, put it in somewhere where you can automatically go to it and you can utilize it when you've overeaten and you start to feel really bad about what you did. Like I said earlier, it's less than 90 seconds and it'll help you reset your mindset and stop the spiral. No shame required. So go to weightlossforwomenover40.net/snack, no S at the end, SNACK, and grab it today. All right, I am Nikki T signing off, and this has been Weight Loss for Women Over 40. See you next time. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.